For at least 55 years, a family of Grosili has waited for justice after their land was compulsorily acquired by the state. Jerome Montut died 15 years ago without receiving the compensation for his roughly 35 acres of land that a UWP government expropriated, supposedly for tourism development and environmental health purposes. The displacement practically wiped out Montut's livelihood as a livestock farmer and an investor in the blue economy, for whom beachfront and nearshore access was essential. Montut refused what he considered to be the meager and grossly inequitable offers of compensation from the government. The matter dragged on and remained unresolved across the tenure of no less than 7 administrations, both UWP and SLP. This denial of Montut's dues persisted, despite the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court having found decisively in his favor, including a constitutional motion. In 2019, the OECS Court of Appeal ruled unanimously in his favor that the estate should be compensated with interest, cost, and that the sums due and outstanding ought to be paid promptly in light of the decades over which the default had lasted. A UWP government was again in office at the time, and nothing happened until the heirs of Jerome Montut decided to bring the matter to the attention of Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre in 2024. Pierre, known for his commitment to justice, to upholding the law and putting people first, and in his capacity as St. Lucia's Minister for Finance, agreed to compensate the family for their land in accordance with the court's rulings. The Montut family members say they want to acknowledge that what has been justly due to them for decades has finally been rendered through the sensitivity, compassion, and consideration of another head of government in the person of this nation's current Prime Minister. Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the man who cares, had this to say upon learning of the Montut family's appreciation for his indispensable intervention. Said Honorable Philip J. Pierre, and we quote, "I and the government that I lead remain committed, wherever possible, to ensuring and upholding justice. That includes bringing resolution to outstanding matters in ways that are lawful, equitable, and satisfying. Our focus and commitment is always on putting people first." End of quote.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Wonderful Friday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside my co-host for today, Miguel Evelyn Fevrier, the famous Butu, and a very special guest who, without any further ado, barring the time that I'll take to say we apologize for the late start. You know, the last working day of the month brings its own challenges, so we were kind of a bit held up by that. I was about posting something in the Real Issues WhatsApp chat group to let you know that we're running some minutes late. But, you know, each time when you get to do necessary things, other things compete, really press and are very insistent on your attention, and you have to give it to them. So I didn't get a chance to do that. So we apologize for the late start. But we made up our minds that no way we were going to skip the final program before that great Monday, you know, before Monday, the 1st of December. This has to be our last Real Issues program before the elections. And so we are going to have it. So having said that, acknowledging our technical operator, Alton Jaquan Joseph. Let me say good afternoon to a man we've spoken with via the telephone and WhatsApp and all of that, but he's in studio with us, and I'm talking about Felix Fontenelle, the famous Tricky. My brother, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I know why you are in St. Lucia, but it's your home. I can't ask you any questions about that.
And I'm not a product of Canada.
Yeah, Tricky landing, in his home country quite recently, and speaking with me just this morning, and we decided, hey, whatever you have to do, bro, make other arrangements. Absolutely. He's here with us, okay? He may even sing out. You never know if you have something composed that he might belt out, for one of us and so on. Something which I thought happens only to me when we're on this program, but Butu forgot his phones. At the office, and unlike me, who asked for a couple of minutes to rush over and to get it, living pretty near MBC, he said, oh no, he's going to sit it out, he'll tough it out, he's not going for it. So Butu, I appreciate that. I hope it doesn't become too much of a great inconvenience. People, I cannot get into the heart of the program without acknowledging that there has been a change of government in neighboring St. Vincent, just south of us, few miles south of us. In fact, the body of water that separates Vieux Fort from the northern part is actually called the St. Vincent Channel. And the government of Ralph Gonsalves, which has been in office for 24 years, they came in 2001, finally losing bad, this time. I don't really know the reasons, but I think you've heard me say. In any case, why is it considered to be such a tragedy when a government has been in office for pretty much a quarter century, and they lose office? Why do we consider it's such a tragedy? As a matter of fact, there comes a time where you ask yourself whether it's not desirable, whether democratic governments being in office for 30 years, 35, 40 years, whether it's a healthy thing. Sometimes, no matter what you do, people will get, as they say in St. Lucia, molasses, they get tired of you. Maybe that. There's also the other reason about making sure you press the reset button and you introduce some fresh legs from time to time. Make government more like a relay than you make it like a platform that you sit down on and it is immovable and so on. We talk about the platform, but the platform has to be around election time, not a continuous thing day after day after day, a fixed in place platform. Make it like a relay. And if it's a relay, you pass the baton on to fresh legs. And I think you've heard me say, about certain governments and certain movements and certain so-called revolutionaries and progressives who come in, and once they get power, they behave like the very same reactionaries and the very same monarchies and the very same autocracies and so on that they replace. They behave like they don't want to move. And I'm not talking about move in terms of your government and your party. I'm talking about you as an individual. When you reach 80 years, whatever, and usually when it ends with an absolutely devastating, demoralizing defeat from which you find it very difficult to recover. And it is at this time that they pass on the leadership, to the very same fellows that they felt were not good enough, and it becomes like a poison chalice that they have to build from the ground up. In other words, you do them a great disservice. When you have an election result, 14-1, with only Gonsalves himself retaining his seat from the Unity Labour Party, okay? Which was an amalgamation of his own party. I forgot the name back in the day. And the opposition Labour Party in St. Vincent. I remember in the formative years being in St. Vincent, sitting with them, with Gonsalves, with Sir Louis Straker, with, what's his name is deceased now, Vincent Beach, who was the leader of the Labour Party at the time, with a lawyer who had come and had taken over pretty much in the mold of Julian Hunt. He didn't have a seat, but he financed and organized it, called Stanley John Storky was his nickname. I don't know if Storky is still alive. You met all those guys and they were so gung-ho and they were so, coming together after a long time of ideological difference and so on. But, I have to ask myself, even Ralph's son, Camilo Gonsalves, who many people thought at one point he was grooming to be his successor. In fact, some people suggested to me that Ralph is not averse to retiring, but he wants to make sure when he retires that it's Camilo who succeeds him. Well, Camilo got caught up in some scandals. They may have been manufactured, they may have been concocted. Just as Ralph, it was thrown at him a whole woman thing about security at his residence that he was apparently making passes and trying thing, something about Camilo. None of those things in and of themselves, they ought to throw a man down. But when you're in power for a long time, you have to be very careful. Look at Kenny Anthony. Kenny Anthony decided, look, losing 2 elections the way he lost them and so on in 2016, he's not going to continue as leader of the Labour Party. He's not going to even accept the position of leader of the opposition. Many people may not realize it, but that tremendously benefited the Labour Party, That made a big part. And it's not because Kenny was doing anything wrong. When we talk about fresh legs, Philip J. Pierre is anything but a spring chicken. He was not at the time of 2016 when he took over, but a perception of renewal, of continuing to exactly that sort of thing. It worked well. So when you come and talk about, hey, it happened in St. Vincent, St. Lucia is next, the yellow tide will take over. Well, let me tell you something. Philip J. Pierre has not been in office as prime minister for 20 years. He's been in the parliament also 30 years, but he has only been prime minister for 4 years and about a couple of months, okay? All right, 4 years and about, he was sworn in when? In early August? Yeah, because the election was in late July 2021. Early August, so let's check it. August, September, October, November. So, 4 years and 3 months. That's all the time he's been there. Prime Minister, he is still fresh. And not just Prime Minister, he has worked and surmounted the many challenges. The debt to GDP ratio has improved. The unemployment has fallen to record low levels than it has ever been. All the indicators, minimum wage has been implemented, pension has been increased, people who were on temporary, teachers and others, and home care givers, whatever, have been made permanent and so on. Police have been given a deal, even when they were being worked against for political reasons by their own president of their welfare. Why? See, now that he's out of the position of police welfare and out of the position of welfare association, out of the force completely, we see he's showing his true colors, he's showing on the back. He even addressing police and telling them, vote for your pocket. What was happening to them? When their pockets, and the only person he's talking about is the Labour Party, The Labour Party is full of tricks. You all had issues and problems that were not addressed when Flabo was in office. But this is the trick we have to avoid. When you see people like Cameron Law and all of that throwing themselves forward at a certain time, what they're trying to do is to distract you. So you give them too much time of day. You make them feel or sound like they're too important, and then you take the focus off where it should be, the people who are on the hustings. Cameron Law and moving no needle or price of anything, whether in Labrie where he's from or wherever. Laura Japia is the one going against Alva. So they can come and try to create all the distraction. No bother about them. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has sent a message of congratulations to Dr. Godwin Friday, as he should. It demonstrates the Prime Minister's dignity. It demonstrates the Prime Minister's statesmanship. He recognizes that this is the man, regardless of what colors they wore on the campaign trail. This is the man he will be dealing with within the context of the OECS, in a bilateral context, as two very close neighbors, for the development of St. Lucia and St. Vincent, to see how we can work together to improve the lives. One thing Philip J. Pierre understands? He understands that just as in his capacity as the MP for Castries East, as the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, he is acting in a representative capacity. He is acting for and on behalf of the people of St. Lucia. And so it don't matter whether on the campaign trail, whether people send people over here to come and to do Cambridge Analytica stuff, he has to deal with them for the sake of the people of St. Lucia. Within the context of the OECS Economic Union, the revised Treaty of Basse, he has to act for the people of St. Lucia and by extension for the people of that wider economic space, a very successful one called the OECS. Regardless of what Kamla Prasad Bissessa or Andrew Holness says, he has to act in a representative capacity within CARICOM and all its councils, which include the CCJ, which includes so many other things quoted, the Conference on Trade on Economic Development, all these sorts of things. He has to act in a manner for the people of St. Lucia and for the people of the wider CARICOM. Because don't forget, there's a rotating chairmanship. From time to time, you become chairman of this, you become this or that, and you have to act in this manner. That is not just a matter of yellow. It doesn't matter of who close to Trump and who you came to office around the time of Trump and right-wing and conservative and this. You are acting for the people of our Caribbean and especially our St. Lucia. Big up to you, Prime Minister. You continue to lead the way in dignity, in respect. Now, if I go on and on and on and on and on, it's the same thing I don't like when I hear people doing it. I doing the same thing. Butu, Tricky, You all are part of the show today, so take it away, say something, okay?
Absolutely. Well, Shelton.
What happened at 1 o'clock already, okay? Because we started late, okay? It's not me that pallet what.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Shelton, I must say that.
Watch your mic, eh?
Yeah, well, I must say that me building St. Lucia is a testimony of the fact that I am satisfied with the performance of my government. And the news and the energy is also being spread throughout the diaspora in Canada.
You ain't saying Calypso again, but you endorsing Jusman again. Your government working.
He working so hard. Yes, so
even now on the campaign trail, the fellas out every night, several times a night. Is fire station open there? Police divisional headquarters opening there? This place opening there? Is that a whole lot of things still going on?
And it just shows the caliber of leadership that we have. Because even if we are in an election year, the business of the country has to move on. And that is the caliber of leadership that we're talking about. Yes, I was saying that in the diaspora in Canada, we have a number of persons who have booked their flights to come down, their tickets to come down to vote, because they're excited. They believe that St. Lucia is in a good place. And if we, perchance, allow Flambeau to enter, it will be setting us back at least 20 years. And this is what it is, because persons are now talking about the legacy for their children and their children with some of the things that Philip JP and the Central Labour Party has implemented.
The laptops, the school fees, the CFC, the the after school program. You talk about
the list goes on and on. And he did all of, and he's doing all of this after inheriting a country that was broke. I didn't say.
Yes.
He inherited a country that was broke. So says the former Prime Minister Alan Chastanet.
Yes, Minister of Finance.
So as a result of that, persons are saying we need Philip JP to continue the good work that he is doing for St. Lucia on behalf of St. Lucians. And you notice he's doing it without any flair. He had no big thing about him. Simple man doing great things.
Of course.
Buto.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's the day before what I call Mandates Monday. Mandates Monday, because it's each and every one of us responsibility to ensure that we give the St. Lucia Labour Party and the umbrella and the hand that's 17 to nil. 17.
Absolutely.
Not mandate.
Absolutely.
We're not taking any chances. And tonight, I'm going to be advising the children, the same ones who are making noise, to make sure they wake up, because it's not a school day. So make sure they wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, make their parents coffee and tea, and wake them up and say, Mommy, Daddy, go and vote for my laptops. Go and vote for my laptops. Please go and vote for my laptops. That, my brothers, is going to be a message tonight. Of course, Shaquan, you have the image already, right? So the people of Labon and surrounding areas, my rep and Brother Tricky will be there tonight.
Absolutely, my brother.
Absolutely will be there. So people of Labon, Moshi and surrounding areas, and even if you laugh, come to Moshi. Because the Honorable Kenson Casimir will have a meeting in that community tonight. I plan to speak on the platform. Brother Tricky, incidentally, I didn't even know he'd be here. And then when we spoke, he told me that he will be on platform tonight as well.
As a matter of fact, I was on the platform in Babon Pebush last night. I landed yesterday afternoon and already got involved and got engaged in terms of campaigning. But this election, I want to say to all of us, because I like to speak to people, I like to speak with people, all of us, that the choice is clear. We have to vote.
We have to stay with Mr. P.
We have to stay. Because we've seen that the backing dogs and all those things and persons that. But I'll tell you something. Even if I was not a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party and I was not supporting the Labour Party, when Chastanet opened his mouth and he said that he does not understand what putting people first means, that was a non-starter for me. For me, at the end of the day, anyone who listens to that little soundbite that he had about he does not understand what putting people first means, and you don't develop a country like that, that is a nonsense. Any St. Lucian who in their right conscience and their right mind can go to the polls on Monday and vote for Alan Chastanet and the United Workers' Party, having known and having heard him making those statements and the way he treated St. Lucians during COVID, The monies that he took, and he sent $7 million away for COVID vaccine that never came to us. And that this is the same candidate that who signed, he was PS at the time, signed for that 7 million, and they have him running Denver South. So it's a cabal that they want to bring back, and I suspect the reason why you see all this thrust, certain persons want to cover their tracks, so they want to come back in.
Yeah.
That is my greatest suspicion, that certain persons are in there not because they have any contribution to make, but they are in it to cover their tracks.
Of course
Right,
they do, but
right.
they want to contribute to their pockets.
That's it.
But let's do a little bit of mischief speculation. There's good mischief.
Yes.
If you were in a desperate situation, back is to the wall of Alan Chastney, and you had what you think is an ally, because Chastney always think everybody is his friend because they have same color, and then they realize he ain't all that, and they don't. You think Chastney will be trying his best to persuade Godwin Friday to skip over here for the weekend to give him one last little push and so on? You think so?
Of course. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
All right. Is this a weekend we have to watch?
I think
That
it will be.
mischief and damage and sabotage and all kind of thing will be, because look, people already setting up website, fake website, so that SLP manifesto, they say that's where it is, and it's their manifesto.
Manifesto.com, yes.
Of course, if they've sent anybody for a misdirect to some kind of website, once people see what's there, they probably will be turned off right away and look for the real manifesto.
Yeah.
One man on the front page, 78 pages, padded up, dumb kind of thing,
Yeah.
as opposed to a lean and agile,
Yeah.
document that they can go to. But is this weekend something you think our security services, we ourselves, need to watch very
I think
closely?
we need to watch it. I also think that I hope that all the cameras around St. Jude are working as well. Because I think that's my biggest fear, St. Jude. Funny you say that, Shelton. I will tell you something which is a fact, and anybody can challenge me if they want to not, but they will not succeed. Prior to the Folk Research Center being burnt down, not long before, mere weeks, maybe about a month, the father of a certain politician was on top of the hill, right there at the back of the Folk Research Center, overlooking
That's Mount
the
Pleasant,
city,
don't
Mount
you?
Pleasant,
Wow.
overlooking the city with, I think, 2 or 3 other gentlemen of equal complexion, or greater complexion, let me put it that way. And not long after the
The
FRC burned down, partner was up there again,
looking at this place.
overlooking the city.
But you see, Shelton, it's a deliberate ploy to wipe off the history of St. Lucia's.
Yeah, man.
If you look at the way that RSL was treated, his disdain for you. In other words, you can trace Ishla, peace by my mama.
Yes, yes.
His disdain for you caused RSL to go down the drain, right? And the Folk Research Center. You look at those things, those mysterious kind of fires and those mysterious kind
I
of,
know the RSL thing. What really hurt me? There were about 3 people on the board of directors,
For my
if not
boys.
3, but the minister, who had a personal history of RSL. One of them was a manager, managing director, or whatever he called himself, or he was called at the time. Another one was a news editor.
My goodness.
Another one,
And president of the Media Association as well.
yeah, media
Yeah,
association
yeah,
and so
yeah.
on. So there are others who sat on the board. You had those people there, on the board of Radio St. Lucia, who went along with those things. Now, granted, even if they disagreed, it might still have happened. But demonstrate your protest against certain things. To the best of my knowledge, only one person on that board that I know of, I'm not telling you there were not others, only one person on that board that I know of who stood up against those things, but he was a lone voice. And I have to acknowledge him, to the best of my knowledge, was Cuthbert Didier, at the time. I think he was a member. I haven't seen him for a while since I came back. Who stood up. You want to tell me there were people, I tell you, who were, as Miguel pointed out, president of the Media Workers, Association of St. Lucia, MASL, they called it at the time, who had been news editor at Radio St. Lucia, who had been people at the forefront, and a minister who worked at Radio St. Lucia, were prepared to let that thing go along, and a managing director. One of them actually went and said to a Radio St. Lucia worker, how he's against this thing, he's against it completely, but that man not listening to nobody. That man with reference to Alan Chastney, you know. He not listening to anybody. And that was a continuous refrain, you know, how they talking to Chastney.
Yeah.
Chastney don't want to listen to anybody.
But
What's
he
in his
said it
mind.
himself. He doesn't
You know,
listen to
they're
anybody.
doing this kind of thing, but you're still following him.
Yeah.
You know?
Was it one of them also an attorney who lived in the UK and understood the value of a PBS?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. And I think that attorney, he used to express his misgivings and so on.
Yeah.
But that is the problem with when we have bitterness and grudginess over unrelated things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the noise you hear being made about Richard Frederick and so on, it is nothing about any crime or gangsterism or impacts report. It is people who have personal beef and grudge over something that happened, you know, and so they want to lend expression to it.
Yeah.
But there are others who come out because I think Mr. Evans Cauldron, you know,
Yes.
that former minister,
Yeah. Yep.
that former MP
Yeah.
for Choiseul and Saltibus, Mr. Pai as he's nicknamed and so on. I think Mr. Evans Cauldron, who many people would consider to be on the conservative side, when we had the power struggle and all of that and so on, he was a man who was on the Alan Louisi side, not in the Odlum side and this guy, but he could be a firebrand too. But he has come out and said if anybody he has to support for Central Coast, it ain't going to be anybody else but Richard Frederick.
Yes.
But people allowing their personal beef and their you see, if I have a beef against somebody, I just keep it quiet.
Keep quiet. That's
I'm
it.
not going to burn down a whole house in an effort to kill a rat.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to go and sink a whole ship. You understand? Because of some little personal thing and so on. When I can see the whole strategic picture of what is better.
Yeah.
Man, look at what Richard Frederick has done in and for Central Castries. And to his credit, even before when he was not with Labour.
Yes.
Even
Yes,
before
he
when he was
did
in the
Central,
Flambeau
yeah,
government, you know, whether you're talking about Serenity Park, whether you're talking about whatever it is.
Jeremy Street
As a matter of fact, the Jeremy Street Plaza and
And the
those
booths
things,
along there.
and the Anchorage and all of that. Richard Frederick, you get a sense, is able to do those things because he has gotten the empowerment and the enablement of his Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Also,
You know?
Shelton, the people of Central Castries, Richard Frederick don't do anything that the people do not want. They empower him as their rep.
Yes.
And Richard Frederick has transformed Castries City.
Yes.
And I could beat my chest and say, there's no representative on any political color or platform that has done more for Central Castries than Richard Frederick.
To me, I'm telling you,
You could
and
look at-
this nonsense about he's a loose cannon, he doing as he please. The man is a minister in the office of the Prime Minister. He's right there with the Minister of Finance. Where are you getting the resources and the money to
Thank
do
you.
those things unless he's empowered by the
He's
Minister
empowered
of
by the
Finance?
I was
You
just
know?
coming to say
Yeah,
that
you
he's
know,
in the
when
office of
the
the Prime
man
Minister.
knows how to flip one asset so that you can get another, people don't realize the genius it was for a piece of land between Bannon and Tapion, you know, which Slasper said they don't want because their plans for the redevelopment of the whole port area, they don't see how they can, you know, basically do the remedial work that is required to fit it into you know, the architecture of the plans, you know, what they need to do, the stabilization and whatever, for that little piece of thing, too much money. For a man to take that and to see how he could take it and sell it and use the funds for the NHC headquarters on Chaussee Road. People don't understand what you call the real estate capital, you know. That when you put
Because
such
he's
build
into real estate, he had the brain for it.
Exactly. But
He had the
when
brain.
Chaussee Road, all you can associate Chaussee Road with is what's behind Chaussee Road. Wilton's yard, the shooting, the guns, everything. And you come and you put something that raises the prestige and the
beautiful
aesthetics
building.
of the place.
Yeah, man.
You know, basically what you are doing is that you are cutting into the kind of the slum association
That's
that people
it,
put
that's
it down. You know, the developmental real estate that you are doing there and so on. It is transformative in itself.
Yes, it
you
is.
know?
It is.
I don't know.
And also what you're doing, you expanding the city.
Yeah.
And all the persons that you figure out that might be the little troublemakers, they will find other areas to move out
Exactly.
to. Because once you expand the city, that's what's going to happen. And again, you give people a sense of, I am proud to be from Central Castries because look at this. And let me tell you something, Sheldon. The amount of pain that Flambeau inflicted on St. Lucia for 5.5 years. St. Lucians must never ever forget the pain that they have inflicted on St. Lucians. The other thing I want to touch on St. Jude's a bit. And you know some of the questions, some of the questions we need to ask Chastney and his gang is, are they going to move into St. Jude's? Tell people what their plans are for St. Jude's Hospital as is now.
You think those fellas really want to tell the plans?
No, because we know.
You think those fellas will... Listen to me. I'm not afraid to say it, even though Alan Shastey strikes me as a guy who is so vindictive.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we don't realize.
Petty.
You know, pettiness is the precursor to vindictiveness. Okay? Alan Shastey strikes me as being so vindictive that anything that he sees will be a feather in the cap of Philip J. Pierre and the Labour Party. He don't want to hear nothing about how good it is for the country.
No.
As far as it's concerned, you're gonna get credit for it. It will be a big up to you. You see Alan Shastey? You see St. Jude? Don't be surprised the same way they mash up 2 buildings that those fellas put back and whatever in St. Jude. And to hell with how we pay the Saudis. They'll find out. They'll squeeze it. You see that's halls of justice, which means Papa's real estate and colony house and whatever, and those things will take a hit and they will not get the rent for them. Do not be surprised, even if you don't mash it up, that he just put a freeze on it right there.
Right
that it just frozen, and he will find a way to squeeze money
He'll
from.
have an audit. He'll have an audit.
That?
He'll have an audit.
Yeah, all kinds of things. You know, the CIP. I heard them say what he'll do. The CIP, he'll freeze it or something like that.
He raising the minimum wage to 2.5.
Okay. What are you gonna do? You see that CIP that managed to resolve that fifth finger at OKEU and the other things that CIP has funded. This guy is going to find a way to delegitimize a lot of things simply because they're not making him look good. I'm telling you, I do not trust Alan Shastey. If Alan Shastey can be talking about Leandra calling her to a meeting, that's what's on your mind?
Yeah.
That's what's on your mind? I'll call her to a meeting. I want to know what you will say. You know? What you should be saying to make people feel nice about you. I'll call Leandra to a meeting and I'll tell her all her fears, were unfounded. I have no such plans to do anything to her. And I think when she come out of the meeting, she'll say never again. But she'll say never. Never should we. You're a good politician to remove Alan Shastey from power. These are the kind of things the guy has on his mind. To go and target people, no matter how small, no matter how much they don't have anything.
The old people tell you, whenever a man shows you who he is the first time.
Believe him.
Believe him.
Yeah.
And we saw 5.5 years of him.
Yeah.
So why would we go back there? We should never go back there.
Yes.
Can I contrast that though? Because, just hearing that just reminded me of an experience I had with the Prime Minister just on today's Friday. So it was Wednesday night on Kensington's platform. And I was around the stage and he arrived and he sat. And I said to him, I spoke to him of an idea I had, which can both generate revenue for that government during that period, but also give people a relief. I think that might be a surprise maybe in the next administration. And he listened and he said, that's a good idea. I say, look, PM, I was trying to pitch that to you a while already. I just haven't got the opportunity. But it has something to do with the transport sector. But he listened and he said, that's a good idea and we'll talk. I will think of it. That is how a prime minister leads with humility and he understands his people. It's not just what I want.
Yeah, refusing to take questions from reporters and just bypassing them. Do you know, Tricky? I don't know if you heard that. On last Friday, which was nomination day, we were going to different nomination places to report on, the turnout and whatever. Our reporter, anchor of our news, Chloe Dantes, went down to Mico South. And Alan Shastey, she tried to approach him and he turned his back on her. He refused to talk to her, whatever. A vexedness he have against NBC and this kind of thing. This is the 11th hour. This is where you are, your last lap. And go into the ballot box. Exactly. And you're still showing this kind of thing. And just a few days before you come and tell us what, how you changed. How you're a different man.
The sad thing about it
he changed for the worse.
Even know. Yes, people in here work for NBC. But he, like with every organization, he doesn't know how many UWP supporters.
Exactly.
Chloe could have well been a UWP supporter. He said, no, I'm not ascribing it. But he never knows.
Because part of your resume and your interview, they don't ask you which political party you support when you come to work here. Right. I want to touch on something about the pension scheme.
Yeah, go ahead.
They want to bring back in. And he talk about 55. You could, whatever it's at 55. So if you can be pensioned at 55, Shelton, but you have to wait for 65 years to get your money. What do you do in 10 years?
Exactly.
So so in other words, you'll be fired or you take your money at 55 because you retired at 55. So what do you do for the next 10 years? When you wait for your money. These are the kind of fluff and bluff that this party, that United Workers Party, has been preaching to people. And we have to be able to read between that. Which bank in St. Lucia Descartes will go and negotiate with to lower Sheldon,
Boy.
to lower the interest rate on loans. St. Lucians do not fall for that. Which government will be able to give every young person that wants to build a house? Sheldon, come on.
Yeah.
Send all your children.
Sheldon, that means,
All right, I think it's time for a break.
I mean,
You for the break? Let's take the break. Folks, there's nothing we need to tell St. Lucians, don't fall for it. St. Lucians have seen not just words and bluff, they have
Action.
actually seen not just pronouncements and renderings and pie in the sky plans and so on. They have seen Philip Joseph Pierre and his cabinet of ministers at work.
oh yes.
They have seen things done. St. Jude Hospital has thrown UWP in a panic because every promise this government has made, it has kept it. It has delivered. They have no answers. So now they're trying to find some comfort that maybe the yellow over there across the St. Vincent
That
Channel,
not crossing
we
the
can
ocean.
slide it into St. Lucia.
That not crossing the channel.
And all this kind of thing and so on. And that's the only hope they have. That for some reason we can do, or what they call some kind of transference, of people's trust. The challenges people in St. Vincent face, and other challenges St. Lucians face, and all the challenges that St. Lucians face, many of which were caused by Alan Chastney.
Absolutely.
Philip J. Pierre came in and he resolved them. He has been committed to resolving them. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. Let's take a break. We're a bit off schedule today, but we'll take it. And when we come back, Tricky and Butu will continue, and it won't be long before I guess we'll open the phone lines because we want to give you as much time as possible since it is the final program before polling day on Monday, December the 1st.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
For at least 55 years, a family of Grosili has waited for justice after their land was compulsorily acquired by the state. Jerome Montut died 15 years ago without receiving the compensation for his roughly 35 acres of land that a UWP government expropriated, supposedly for tourism development and environmental health purposes. The displacement practically wiped out Montut's livelihood as a livestock farmer and an investor in the blue economy for whom beachfront and nearshore access was essential. Montut refused what he considered to be the meager and grossly inequitable offers of compensation from the government. The matter dragged on and remained unresolved across the tenure of no less than 7 administrations, both UWP and SLP. This denial of Montut's dues persisted, despite the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court having found decisively in his favor, including a constitutional motion. In 2019, the OECS Court of Appeal ruled unanimously in his favor that the estate should be compensated with interest, cost, and that the sums due and outstanding ought to be paid promptly in light of the decades over which the default had lasted. A UWP government was again in office at the time, and nothing happened until the heirs of Jerome Montut decided to bring the matter to the attention of Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre in 2024. Pierre, known for his commitment to justice, to upholding the law and putting people first, and in his capacity as St. Lucia's Minister for Finance, agreed to compensate the family for their land in accordance with the court's rulings. The Montut family members say they want to acknowledge that what has been justly due to them for decades has finally been rendered through the sensitivity, compassion, and consideration of another head of government in the person of this nation's current Prime Minister. Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the man who cares, had this to say upon learning of the Montoute family's appreciation for his indispensable intervention. Said Honorable Philip J. Pierre, and we quote, "I and the government that I lead remain committed, wherever possible, to ensuring and upholding justice. That includes bringing resolution to outstanding matters in ways that are lawful, equitable, and satisfying. Our focus and commitment is always on putting people first." End of quote.
Watch Radio NYC and Night Blink Events proudly presents the 3rd edition of Country on the Water. It's all going down on Sunday, December 7th, on board the King of Carnival. Boarding at Obez Seraphim from 10 a.m. Early bird tickets cost $100, regular $120. Featuring your DJs, Selector Jerry, DJ Leroy, DJ Rambo, DJ Bucker, DJ Steve, and the Fabulous Kid. Get those tickets before they're all sold out. For tickets and more info, call up 712-1022 or 728-7828. Sunday, December 7th, Country on the Water. It's not just a boat ride, it's an experience. Don't miss the energy, the vibes, and the ride of the year.
Excuse me, would you mind if I sat down?
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay By Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with The Real Issues, the final one before polling day on Monday, the 1st of December. We're powered by Blue Waters. I'm Shelton Daniel. Alongside today, to my immediate left, the Calypsonian, at least in times past, Tricky, you know. Yeah, the man who brought you Calypso hits like Mama, yeah, I love you. And to those of you who love your mamas and so on, there's only one government, one party that does justice to them. It is the party of bread, freedom, and justice, the St. Lucia Labour Party. The man who brought you other hits like, pass it, Tricky, you better pass it, you know. Well, we're gonna pass him, you know, great joy for the steadfastness of his support over the years, and I think he will get his just reward and his just desserts in the anticipated massive, overwhelming landslide victory of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And of course, a man who's also known for his steadfastness, you know, for standing firm, even though someone accused him of trying to take down their posters and so on.
but said the only reason he didn't succeed is because he couldn't reach them. I tell you the one thing Back said that made me laugh. So why you accusing the man if he didn't succeed? You know, he couldn't reach the window and so on because the window was out of his reach. So just leave the man alone.
Hey, you forget I'm a Calypsonian too.
That's right.
Actually, I guess since we will be playing labor songs later, I sent you one of my songs so we can play towards the end.
Okay. Yeah, Tricky, one other thing to talk about, was it Butu about
I think, I just saw a post here from Keefson Charles, the Labour Party candidate for Choiseul Saltibus, and it apparently depicts the Guyabwa Road, which was just recently concreted. And you know the Guyabwa people, there was a a gentleman who took to the news a few years ago who said that the road wasn't a non-national, that the road wasn't done, the Guyabwa Road wasn't done. So Jaquan, you got the one I sent you, the Guyabwa Road with the write-up from Kifo? Okay, so it's saying here, this is not politics, and I'm quoting Kifo here.
Guyabwa is in the upper reaches of Saltibus, right?
Yes, sorry, Guyabwa in Saltibus. I think there's a nice little villa down there called Pineapple. There's pineapple villas, but there's some huge pineapple estates all along.
Okay, all right.
This is not politics. This is sabotage against our own neighbors. Whoever drove over the fresh concrete in Guyabwa may think they were hurting my campaign, but look closely at this picture. You didn't hurt Kifo. You hurt the people of Guyabwa who have waited years for this road. You hurt the taxpayers whose money paid for it. You hurt the workers who poured their sweat into it. While we are building, others are destroying. The choice could not be clearer. To the residents of Guyabwa, do not worry. We will continue advocating. We will fix this. We will not let destruction win. Okay. So it appears that some mischievous person, now we wouldn't necessarily say it's a flub, although it's been the MO or some of the Alan Chasney has explicitly stated that people need to be angry and we shouldn't allow. But whoever is doing that must have been mischievous. I don't even want to give the benefit of the doubt and say they didn't realize, because Guyabwa has been in a deplorable condition for eons, for decades upon decades. So you don't say you did not notice fresh concrete was poured on that road.
And also it has been in the news in terms of the project.
The project, yes.
Also, Sheldon, you know, it's funny that we were just sitting here looking at counting down the last days of election, and we said to our voters and St. Lucians, we have to be careful. And here you go. This piece of news is coming.
Right.
And that might just be a precursor to something bigger.
Yes. So it's a good point you all made about St. Jude and so on.
Yes.
You know, watch out for those things. Yeah.
Because remember, there was a situation down in St. Jude's when they started the project, where this guy took a backhoe overnight and he dug holes in some road that they had and paved just for access to the place. So it's not passing strange that this kind of ammo can still work.
So the new police stations and the new divisional headquarters, now that you have Mr. Ex-President calling on his troops to do this, and because police voting today, right?
Yes, they all voting today.
Emergency services and so on. You know, be very careful, you know, fella. Although I don't think he ever had much pull.
Cameron is my partner, but Cameron Pamoon.
Yes. All right, okay.
Cameron Pamoon.
Yes, I'm just saying too that, you know, when you are the head of such an organization like the Police Welfare Association, there's some integrity that should come with that position. And when you've been lobbying, crying out, I didn't hear him crying out when Chasney was in office. I didn't hear him crying out.
Earlier this year,
right?
The government settled something. What is it to do with health insurance or something like that for the police and so on? That was settled.
Yeah.
Cameron went publicly and made a statement to the effect that this thing was not done, and Prime Minister Pierre had to come out and to correct, and it was only when the Prime Minister demarty him that he backpedaled.
But that is the ammo of these fellas. You look at Guy Joseph a couple nights ago talking about a mass shooting in Bocage. And not even a firecracker was launched in Bocage. So these are the kind of things that we have to guard ourselves against. The Yodi, Powell Bolawi, you know, and there's no legitimacy to it. But like I said, it just hit me. I got goosebumps when that story came out. And just before that, we were talking
Speaking
about
of that, yeah.
we have to be careful in these final days of campaigning because persons are going to do things.
Sure.
Persons are going to be desperate because they know they're going to lose already.
Yes.
So they're going to be doing things, trying to destabilize the country,
Sure.
trying to get things and saying, oh, Pierre has lost control of this. No, this is not happening. Not under our watch and with our vigilance. So we now be calling on the authorities now to be even more vigilant in monitoring St. Jude's Hospital and the fire station in Ancillary Canneries area there and all these government projects that has happened over the past 4.5 years to make sure that there's no mischief.
Yes.
And folks, the police are stupid, eh?
No.
You see this same way, out of the mouth of babes, the children can tell what the mood is.
Yeah.
The police not stupid. The police get vehicles coming out the air square, as we would say. They have vehicles, and some of them already start mashing up. They start mashing up some of them already. Yeah? Fellas, take care of the government property.
You know, the
Yeah.
police vehicles will never be.
But
Because if criminals know that police will not pursue them somewhere because the police don't want, you know,
Yeah.
they can't quote it, script and so on. Then criminals will just do things and they just go off into the road. But if they do, police will chase them there, you know. So you're gonna get some scuffs and
And we're going on misinformation again. When Philip J. Pierre made the bulletproof vest available to the police officers, he said every single.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
He said every single police officer will get one. Right?
Yes.
So you heard what Kakal was saying in Beaufort North.
Yeah.
Oh, après un homme service ça, il pour laver, il un lot nom. That was never true.
Disinformation.
It's a disinformation.
I hope you're not snitching, eh? You know, because if
You snitch, you sleep.
right? Mr. James, go ahead.
Yes. Am I right?
Yeah, you're on live. Yeah.
Okay. Something I saw this morning. Pastor Quinn, better than Garfield Alexander, and Daniel Lagon at the Beaufort police station, inside the hotel at the Beaufort police station, with a camera, and using phone to video people.
You video people what? Is that one of the places that police are voting?
The police are voting.
Ah.
I took strong objection to that.
Is there a law against it?
Yes, there is a law against it.
That you should not be filming?
Because he's within the 100 mark.
The distance.
So you're saying they were within the 100 yards distance?
Yeah, in the compound cell.
Ah.
And videoing and everything. So after he made some noise, I think then they put it out.
Okay. Yeah, well, whoever they are, what they call them, presiding officers and police themselves should know what kind of activities are permissible within 100 yards line, because sometimes if other people, if people from NBC, they would have stopped them and so on, you know. So, you know, you have to be even-handed.
So they did take their stand, but they put out.
So basically they stopped when
they stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, but I tell him out of there.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, and Selma Imab says it's not Garfield Alexander. So make sure, Mr. James. He said Garfield Alexander.
Yeah, Garfield, what is his name again?
I don't know, Garfield.
The pastor fellow who calls himself some kind of pastor and so on, but is so polarizing.
Yeah.
And so on. Garfield Oliver.
Right.
His name and so on.
Yeah, and one of the things we must never lose sight of, Shasney cannot continue with his bad deeds on his own. It is 17 constituencies that we are contesting.
Right.
There are 17 electoral districts in St. Lucia. And every single one, when you go to the ballot box, you have to see that a vote for them is a vote for him.
Of course, yes. Of course.
A vote for anyone in the 17 constituency is a vote for Shasney and his failed policies.
Exactly. Why never believe that SVG elections result will influence our election result? Never. The mood is red.
Gentlemen,
this is just wishful. This is just wishful thinking on their part.
Gentlemen, I have a question for the Lady Lee, Tommy Descott. Well, Titus Stern big already. I want to know if these people, because I know they have a few that, or maybe one person who's incapable, but don't they have children? And will they be given back the facilities fees? And if the child qualifies for a university scholarship under this administration, would they be given back them? I say, no, don't worry, I don't want it. I don't want free education.
Well, I could answer that for you. Spiderson did not turn down the money
He did not.
for the youth economy.
But I want to know if the candidates themselves that have children in school.
You know, he didn't.
That's
turn
what
it
I
down.
want to know.
He didn't turn it down.
Those that have children in school, if they're not benefiting too.
And I'm saying, everything that the government has done, once you are St. Lucian, it belongs to you as well.
Yes.
So it's not about us nitpicking on politicians and their family. It's about it's available to St. Lucians.
Thank you. A
And
government
every
for
St.
all.
Lucian, no matter what political stripes that you are from, the government is giving the scholarships. You would be stupid not to take it for your children, both because of your political stripes. That is counterproductive. And like I said, if you're looking at a more progressive leader in St. Lucia, you could look at Philip J. Pierre.
Of course.
Philip J. Pierre is educating the country in a way no other prime minister has done, in terms of one university graduate per household, in terms of paying for folks at Stafford Lewis, the laptop program, because he understands. And remember, the laptop program is a continuation of what Kenny started.
Yep.
And a lot of the policies you see that there was a visionary behind, and now it's taking shape. So Philip J. Pierre knows that he cannot stay in government forever and ever. So what do? Do we keep people ignorant and stupid so that you could reign supreme every time? No, he's educating the next generation so St. Lucia doesn't fall prey to the deceit of a Shasney again.
Right.
Yeah. And
He's making sure.
And you know, someone says, one told me this morning, is freeness labor people looking for with the CXCN scholarships. But let me let y'all know, the people that have the most are the ones that want the freeness for their children.
Yeah.
So why can't those that cannot afford and don't have it not be allowed that opportunity too?
Yeah, and also when you look at the Cuban scholarship program, Sheldon, that Shasney was iffy about. My daughter just graduated recently from Cuba, medical school, and right now she's at the OKEU.
Okay.
She's at the OKEU.
Wow.
And you're telling me that that's a government that is not progressive, that's a government that's not investing in young people. Any young person out there listening to the sound of my voice, and you are in the valley of indecision as to where to vote, I can tell you today, a vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party is a vote for progress.
Right.
It's a vote for a better life for you. It's a vote for a better education for you. It's a vote for opening up the windows of the world to greater possibilities for you. Not persons who want to take you back 20 years and tell you, they want to develop an economy from the top down to the bottom. That trickle-down economy thing don't work anymore. We all have brains. You tell me the youth economy, because the Prime Minister recognized that within the public sector, he cannot employ everybody. So he made the youth economy work for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, about Garfield Oliver, now we have a deacon. Reverend Deacon Bernard Hines is calling us from New York. Good afternoon to you, brother. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Shelton.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miguel.
Good afternoon, my brother.
And I have seen you guys being accompanied this afternoon by Mama. I love you.
Yes.
The great Tricky.
My brother.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
Sheldon,
Yes, my friend.
I have a few friends. And you know where the children study? In Morocco. You know compliments of who? The one university graduate per household.
Yes.
Philip Joseph Pierre.
Yes.
They
Yes.
could not have afford to send the children to university. But guess what? A few of them are in Morocco, Mexico, and in Taiwan. My friends have their children studying. So yesterday I was listening to I don't want to talk too much about this guy because we are already in the day. But I heard Spider said something yesterday, and I'm saying, but wait. The hosts don't realize what Spider said. A little Google will give you the answer. In November of 2016, after the election was won by Alan Trusty and the UWP, It was when Alan Shackney uttered the word, the country is broke. And I heard Spider yesterday saying, oh, it was because COVID and, COVID caused us to be in debt, in arrest. And I'm saying, but wait, COVID came to St. Lucia in 2020 and not 2016. Alan Shackney uttered the word in November. So I said, you know what? Let me go and check. Ask Google, and Google gave you the exact thing. Google told you who was opposing it, what was the reason why it was said, what was the cause of the reaction, all of these things. And I'm saying, but wait, why not calling people liar? But here Google is saying you're a liar. St. Lucian, I want you all to be very careful. The words that have been spoken by these guys, please do not take them to the poll with you. Take the progress of Philip JPA, what he has done, the promises that he has kept, the promises that he did not even promise, but he has given, and what is to come with you to the polls. I know for sure, the people that I'm speaking to there right now is Miguel, Shelton, and Tricky. And I know they're in St. Lucia, not St. Vincent. Do not let that St. Vincent thing come and fool you all. Don't get scared and believe, I'm St. Vincent, Trinidad. No, St. Lucia. Ralphie is not no PJP. Please, St. Lucian. Talk to me.
I have a new name for your partner.
Who that?
The man. Well, they have two of them now. One say gangster is yellow, and the other one holding up gang signs, and they say that the gang leaders were good for the country.
Yeah.
His name is now Mal Capone.
Yeah.
Mal Capone.
Mal Capone.
All right. I know Blair.
Yes, I.
Mais il pas venir assise en site gouvernement, House of Parliament.
Never.
Never
again.
Never. Sheldon, link me up after the show. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Hey, Christmas is on Monday. I hope Bernard bringing gifts.
Yeah. So someone who's with the maritime sector says, good day, comrade, please touch on the fact that the boaters have received concessions for the past 4 years to purchase engine parts and import boats from both the Ministry of Tourism and recently the Ministry of Infrastructure and Ports, thereby providing investment opportunities and employment. And I have served as a temporary senator at the time when they were pushing through those concessions and duty-free.
For the minibus drivers too?
Exactly, for people who are involved in maritime trades and maritime services and so on, and boats, parts, and a whole lot of things. So I know about that.
And that's the people that asked Shackney for a rebate on.
Yes.
On gas.
I call her. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello. Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so all I have to say is that I see no need. In fact, we don't need no government, no change of government right now. What is happening is more than enough for St. Vincent. And the persons who would like to think that because St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez lost in St. Vincent, that's St. Lucia, I need to tell them wake up, okay? Because what Philippe has done to this country, I don't think it has been done in a long, long time. In the days of John Compton, in his heydays, he did work that we had never seen. But right now, in the last 10 years, we have never seen anything like that. This government is more than good for this country. And I am saying to St. Lucians, when you go out to the polls on a Monday, remember the laptop for your children. Remember the pensioners fund. Remember the hospital. Well, there's so much that I honestly can't remember it. But I'll tell you something, you all have articulated it. I just want St. Lucians to remember these things. Put it in their mind and remember that to keep Philip JPA in office now is the best thing that we could do for this country. On our end in Castries Central, I would like to say that to the Castries Central people, that Richard Frederick is also one of the best things that has happened to Castries.
Absolutely.
If they look around them, they will see and they will prove that Richard Frederick is really the best for Castries. So don't worry about the sour oranges and those rushing to become in office. Not qualifying and want to become in office. I heard them on the street offering to build houses and take housing into consideration. We have that. We're not looking for nothing new. What we have, we are just going to continue to build With Philip here, we're going to continue to build on it. So we're satisfied with what we have. And St. Lucians in Catherine Central, I say to you, go out and re-elect Richard Frederick. That is the best thing you could do for yourself. Don't be fooled by the rhetoric around the place. Don't be fooled by all the mighty pilgrims talking their nonsense, you know. We are sticking with Richard Frederick, and we are sticking with Philip JP and the St. Lucia Labour Party. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, but you know something? When I listened to the caller, a while ago, and she started itemizing, you know Philip J. Pierre has overperformed.
Caller, hold on for us, eh? Of course he
You know Philip J. Pierre has overperformed in his 4.5 years.
Allow us look at this whole
Because they cannot... Yeah,
this is Vincent analogy. Ralph Gonzalez and the ULP were there for 24 years.
Yes.
Philip J. Pierre, for all he has done, has only been there for
4 years and 3 months.
3 months. We have not had enough of Philip J.
No,
Pierre.
we haven't.
We need to have a lot more of Philip J. Pierre. If a man can do so much
in that short space of time,
my goodness, if we give him another 5 years, another 10 years, I mean, what St. Lucia gonna be overdeveloped, man?
Not only that, he took an economy that was broke.
Yes.
The former said the country is broke.
The debt to GDP ratio was almost maxed out.
Yes.
Almost 100%.
Yes.
So unemployment high or all the indicators and markers were against us when Philip J.
So this is what happens when a prime minister overperforms.
Yes, we have a caller on the line. You're on the air. Go ahead, caller. Hello. Hello. Caller, go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, we're hearing you now. Go ahead.
Okay. From times, Alan Shastney has been a very selfish guy. Remember, he was in tourism at one time. He was somewhere in tourism. Yeah, you remember that?
I think he was, right?
Yes. You remember Rum and Food Festival?
Boxing in Paradise, a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, Rum and Food Festival was his. And a lady from Trinidad.
And there was a tent I think he needed for that cost almost $1 million to rent.
That's
it.
right. Yeah. Then he sold it to Tourist Board. It didn't last a year. And he went under. So this guy has been for himself. He don't care about nobody but himself. Okay, folks.
All right, thank you very much. You know the other thing I find about Alan Shastney? There never seems to be a reset, like I said, about things. We know the amount of accusations and allegations and things that have swirled around Nancy Charles and Guy Joseph. Every time Alan Shastney comes back, is always... Now, I'm not saying people don't have their friends and people they rely on and people they consider they can lean on and so on. But every time Alan Shastney, these are the people he has forward. These are the people he putting in our face. He's the same Guy Joseph.
Yes.
He's the same Nancy Charles. He's the same people. It's like, you can say what you want. I'm not just putting them there, I'm putting them in your face.
Yeah.
Same thing with Neville Snack, making the man Governor General, the highest office in the land. Putting him as Governor General because Alan Shastney like to show us you can say what you want, look it in your face.
I also want to say something quickly, and something that we may not have realized as well. The Sovereign Wealth Fund, the importance of that as well in the future is so that we do not disturb all of those goodies like Terry is saying now, that if we end up in a situation of disaster due to climate change, okay, she can go ahead. It's just that if we end up in a situation, our regular government revenue and the things that they use to give us the concessions and the free education will not be disturbed because we have a contingency for when things happen.
All right, we have a caller waiting. You're on the air, go ahead. Hello, caller,
Hello?
you're on the air, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Now I'm hearing you.
So, I just want to ask, since today is Friday, the weekend before the decision day, where we eliminate permanently this man and guy from our politics, I want to know if we're getting extra time like we did yesterday. Okay? Now, listen to this. I want to encourage everybody, every single voter in this country who is a supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party, every single flubber who will not vote for Alan Shastney, do not stay at home on Monday and say, "Nous chagrin m'a obligé voter." No. It is on that Monday, 1st of December, that every vote counts. It is even more important that you go and register that stamp of approval for the continuation of the good governance, good policies of the St. Lucia Labour Party, for us to ensure we get 1 p.m. PJP 2.2 loading. Because let me tell you, it's not going to be Friday in St. Lucia for 5 years. Never, ever. Shafne coming back into government under no circumstances. I decree and declare. There's no story about flag not having to touch the ground and for it to go on top of Golden Palace. Never. Mr. Pierre will return as our Prime Minister, and we shall see the decimation of what looked like United Workers' Party on Monday night. Tricky, hello and goodbye at the same time.
All right, thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Thanks. Yeah. I wish there was a PJP during my time. I left school, CCSS, without a GCE because my parents could not pay one subject.
Yeah.
You imagine that?
Yeah, and Shelton is a sad thing when, you know, the leader of a political party can listen to his surrogates and he joining them too, asking for the public flogging of a political opponent, knowing full well the way that we were treated as black people during slavery, knowing full well the ramifications and the thing we still suffer from today. A lot of St. Lucians still believe in the Kulewaya, you know. They still believe that you know, white people somehow have a more pedigree and mentally stronger than us because of the effects of slavery. So when you as a leader join Dominic Fede in calling for the public flogging of a black prime minister that we have, what are you saying to the people? Sure. This man has destroyed so many institutions in St. Lucia. Tell me about the distress fund. The distress fund is about helping people who cannot help themselves in their time of need. And you put an end to that. As prime minister, where you're supposed to be operating from a place of empathy, sympathy, and if you do not have those basic qualities, Sheldon, you should not be putting yourself up for public office. Because I'm trying to figure out, how can one man have such disdain for people he wants to represent? St. Lucians can never be good enough. That's why Shasney taught FFF, friends, foreigners. Because he believed that it's only foreigners can do things in St. Lucia. He took away the annual budget review and he gave it to the foreigners to do. Western Young. Yeah. You know, to prepare the estimates. The estimates of expenditure. You tell me St. Lucians have been doing that for eons.
Yeah, okay. We have to take a break right now. I think it's the Lotto is coming on at around 2 o'clock, so we have to take the break so we can get it. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. We've been granted some extra time again today, so we'll be back at that time.
Everybody ready now the air. Let me see them ready now the air. Red, 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 red. Everybody sing it out. The moon is red. All of this labor in my head. I cannot wait to jump on my bed. To go and vote like a bus I beg. Cause the moon is red. The moon is red. All of this labor in my head.
voice. The voice. The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. Real FM.
It is important that you understand how to mark your X on election day. A good ballot is where the intersection of the X falls in the space allotted for a particular candidate.
Pick 257. The Pick 2 Multi-X ball drawn is FB. 1 off 489. Lucky 3 762. The Lucky 3 Multi-X ball drawn is FB.
It is important that you understand how to mark your X on election day. A good ballot is where the intersection of the X falls in the space allotted for a particular candidate. To explain further, the intersection or the area where the two lines cross must be in the space with the picture and symbol of the candidate you are voting for. This is a good ballot. The intersection of your X is placed next to the candidate of your choice. This is also a good ballot. The lines of your X cross are in the space with the picture and party symbol of the candidate you are voting for. This is also acceptable. The intersection of your X, that is where the two lines cross, are in the space with the picture and party symbol of the candidate of your choice. Now, this is perfect. Your X is placed next to the picture and party symbol of the candidate you are voting for. This ballot will be rejected. Only one X is required. You can only vote for one candidate. This ballot will not be counted. If no X is placed for any of the candidates, then the ballot will be rejected. It will not count. This is not a cross or an X, so this ballot will be rejected. You need to draw two lines, and they need to cross each other. This ballot will be rejected because the X is on the line that separates the candidates. Remember, the X must be placed next to the picture and party symbol of your candidate. This ballot will also be rejected. The X has to be placed in the space opposite the picture and symbol of the party you are voting for. This ballot will also be rejected. Remember to vote. You need to draw an X. The two lines must cross each other. This ballot will not be counted. Now, this is not a cross or an X. This ballot will be rejected and will not count. This is a rejected ballot. The X is too large. Your X needs to be next to the party symbol and the picture of the candidate you are voting for. It should not cross the lines separating the candidates. So, take your time and place your X neatly, directly in the space opposite or next to the candidate you want to vote for. Make your vote count. You have time to practice at home before voting day. Get your X done right. Make your vote count.
How to vote at general elections in St. Lucia. To vote is your constitutional right. Over the next few minutes, the Electoral Department will share with you how to vote on Election Day. All polling stations will be sanitized prior to polling day and after. On Election Day, polling stations must be open at 6:30 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. Once your name is on the voters list, all efforts will be made to ensure that you cast your vote. You can vote with your national identification card. If you do not have a national ID card, you can vote with any photo ID such as a driver's license, passport, or any other photo ID, which will allow you to be identified to the satisfaction of the presiding officer. Safety tips and all other election signage will be posted inside and outside the polling stations. No electronic devices, that is, cell phones, cameras, tablets, smart devices, example smart watches, will be allowed in the polling station. How to vote on Election Day. The electors approach the polling station. As the elector approaches the polling station, an assistant poll clerk outside verifies the elector's name and directs him or her to the correct polling station. The poll clerk invites the elector into the polling station and asks the elector to present his or her national identification card or photo IDs such as a driver's license or passport. The elector is asked to deposit all electronic devices in a basket next to the presiding officer. The poll clerk announces loudly the elector's name and registration number as it appears on the voters list. The presiding officer, poll clerk, and agents verify the elector's name on the voters list and draw a line across the verified information. The assistant poll clerk verifies the information using the electronic device. Before the presiding officer issues the elector a ballot paper, the officer examines the hands and fingers of the elector to ascertain whether the elector has not voted previously. If there is no indelible ink on the right index finger up to the cuticle, the elector is processed. The presiding officer administers the indelible ink on the right index finger or the next available finger if there is no index finger. The presiding officer explains the voting process to the elector and instructs the elector on the correct way to mark and fold the ballot. The presiding officer issues a ballot paper to the elector and informs him or her that only the pencil provided for voting to mark his or her ballot must be used. When the elector has marked and folded his or her ballot as was instructed, the elector returns to the presiding officer and shows the presiding officer his or her initials on the folded ballot paper. Once the presiding officer is satisfied that this is the same ballot that was issued, the voter will place the ballot in the ballot box in the presence of the presiding officer. The poll clerk will mark voted in the poll book, and the assistant poll clerk will flag the elector as voted on the electronic device. The elector is asked to collect all his or her belongings and exit the polling station.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Real Issues powered by Blue Waters is on, our final program before the general elections that have been scheduled for Monday, the 1st of December, 2025. With me in studio as my co-host, and of course, he's been around with us for a while, Miguel Evelyn Favre, and as our very special guest, coming in from Canada just last night, Felix Fontenelle, the man known across St. Lucia as the Calypsonian Tricky. And we're getting the calls coming in fast and furious. But since yesterday, someone has been peppering me with messages, and they say that anyone born after July 15, 2007 should not be on the voters list. SLP agents must remain vigilant, as there is credible information circulating that UWP supporters born after the mentioned date are on the list. Now, I can't really tell you, it's not something I've been studying. But it's not just turning 18 in the year that the elections are held. I think there's a cutoff date of when you should have turned 18. I can't tell you about July 15th.
It's July 15th.
If that means that by July, you should have been 18 by July 15th this year. If you turn 18 after that, then maybe, so somebody who's more knowledgeable about it. So, Erwin, I see you sent me a message about that. I guess the same person sent it to you. We'll talk about that because we have a call on the line who tried to call during the break. Hi, good afternoon. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Hey, Tricky, it's nice to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Same here.
Let me tell you, Sheldon, I just want to point out three desperation moves, signs by the United Workers' Staff. Last night, driving to Castries about after midnight. Can you imagine at the 11th hour, 2 to 3 days before election, you still putting up posters and banners and stuff?
Is this weekend you're going to see them doing it? Posters and banners and taking down the SLP ones?
Yes.
They're going to be doing, I tell you, this is going to be mischief and destruction and damage weekend. You got to watch that.
No, but Shelton, what can that do days before election? You still putting up billboards? What was that?
It's all part of the desperation.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, don't be surprised if they literally try to grab the new Prime Minister of St. Vincent and see if they can drag him to St. Lucia, because it's desperation.
Shelton, I have two more. Another one. I have this friend of mine from Kappa State. The man was telling me how upset the people at Kappa State are because they don't put posters and banners inside of Kappa State, The cutoff point is the entrance point, Pigeon Island. And Marcella going to put endless of these things inside of there. The people don't like that at all.
For some reason, Marcella has a little obsession with the landings area and Jerome Monto Drive and the junction going to Pigeon Island and so on. For some reason. Yes. Now, to me, this area, relative to other areas of the constituency, is sparsely populated.
Yes.
But I don't know. She seemed to be campaigning to the trees quite a lot and the grains of sand on the beach and so on.
Yes, he market Marcella is like a bacchanal.
Marcella have a little problem, a little thing, where maybe everything is not in place as it should be. Yeah. The sand is not compacted. I would suggest, the sand is not compacted in the box very well for her. I'll suggest simple take her to the park and give her a little bit of recreation and entertainment.
On the seesaw, baby.
The last one, I was told that you see this rally they have in Choiseul tomorrow. A lot of the candidates do not like that idea, because the people wants to stay in the constituency to see if they can convince people to vote for them. Bradley is in trouble in Choiseul, and they are going down there to try to help him. The guys don't like that kind of thing, Yes, Bradley is in a lot of trouble. That's why they have that rally there. That was not one.
When they left this to meeting.
We actually have a video from Choiseul endorsing.
If Bradley is in trouble, St. Lucia is doing good. You understand?
Absolutely. Yeah, because.
All right, thank you. We have a caller waiting on the WhatsApp line. Hi, Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Charlton, Miguel, and Tricky.
Doc, how you doing?
I wanted to talk about first the manifesto.
Okay.
I call it a contract with restlessness. When you look at the proposal to reduce the pensionable age to 35, this is just recklessness. All over the world.
35 or 55?
55.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's 45.
All over the world. People are increasing the age. For example, St. Kitts is 62. For the pension to be viable, to be solvent, you need a sufficient number of working persons to fund the system.
That's right.
St. Lucia, we have increasing life expectancy, lower birth rate. So when you tell me you're going to reduce the age, you're going to create an insolvency problem. We cannot wait for Shasti to come and tell us that the NIC is broke. We cannot take that chance. Also, when you reduce the age, you are reducing the amount that each person gets. So it is not in the interest of the country and of persons for the pensionable age to be reduced to 55 years. This is just reckless. And we cannot wait for another case of the NIC is broke. I want to address the issue of calling some of the government intervention handout. I want to address Titus Sprayville in particular, who has been saying this. For someone who has done economics, he knows there is always a case for government intervention when there is the greater good of society at heart. The issue is people who cannot pay for the CXCs will not become doctors, lawyers. So society is losing potential benefits. So it is in the interest of any government to ensure that we have this potential and that potential is fully realized. So it is just ignorance for anybody who is supposed to be educated. I expect that from somebody like Ring the Bell or even Timothy Polius. But to suggest that this is a handout is nonsense. I wonder what he would call the 24 million to Sandals. Is it a handout?
A handover.
What will he call giving Ernest Young 50 million to prepare the budget, which could be prepared by civil servants? Is this a handout? What will he call the loan to Cabot when Cabot was unable to borrow from commercial banks? Is this a handout? I could go on and on. But the question is, I would expect somebody like Titus to get out of the poll. Yes, you are going to poor office, but act like you're intelligent. Don't go to the level of people like Ring the Bell. And the final point I wanted to make is that politics is local. Comrades, we should not fret about what happened in St. Vincent. Friday has been in opposition. He's been the leader since 2016. He's paid his dues. And at the same time, Comrade Rolf Gonzalez really messed around. So we have a confluence of these two issues. So we should not fret. I just hope it is not Peter Wickham advising those guys, thinking that because there's a wave of change that should happen. Because in 2016, Peter Wickham dismissed Richard Frederick and Stevenson King on the grounds that independents don't do well in the Caribbean.
Not a bad read.
That was his only reason for rejecting, saying that they would not win.
So I just hope he's not the one advising them that since there's a wave of change, they should expect a wave of change in St. Lucia. Thank you.
He's changed his tune this time.
Thank you very much, Doc. The time is a bit tight on us. I want to give a little lightheartedness. Thanks a lot to a lady called Empress Bobo, who is always, sending greetings and remaining in touch with us. And though she never really goes into the hard politics, I sent you a picture of her. Maybe we can just put that on the screen. She says, "Greeting Shelton, give thanks for life. This is Empress Bobo. Today is my Earth Strong." And that's always how she describes her birthday. I want you to say this greeting for me, please. Today, I am 60 years. So, really
happy birthday, my darling.
Happy birthday to you, my dear. And she said, I also sent to you a pic of me to post, please, all right?
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, and to say happy Earth Strong to my loving sister, Empress Bobo, celebrating today. I suppose that's her sister, wishing her more blessings, more life, more health, more blessings, more strength. This is coming from your sister, Portia, with love. So big up to you, sister Portia. And on the screen now, do we have it already?
Wow.
Jaquan is putting the picture of Empress Bobo, good-looking lady.
Oh, yes.
Happy birthday to Empress Bobo.
Happy birthday to Empress Bobo. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to Empress Bobo.
Yeah, we really appreciate your being in touch with us all the time, Empress Bobo. We appreciate that.
Yo, Sheldon, quickly, I want to touch on something that we were discussing during the break. And if St. Lucians believe that what they're seeing is a united workers' party, I call it a divided workers' party. There are a lot of men in there who want to see the back of Alan Chasney. There are a lot of men who through a vote of no confidence last time, that they were prepared to get rid of Alan Chasney. And for some reason that happened to fall through. Maybe certain person didn't get paid the amount of money they wanted. But that fell through. But the venom is still there. If Titus is being honest with people of Babono, he will tell them that he is in this thing to replace Alan Chasney. Right? A number of these candidates have come together in secret meetings to plan the way forward after Alan Chasney.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? They have come together to do that. So I'm saying that if back then you all wanted to come together for a vote of no confidence in Alan Chasney, what changed? And I'm a firm believer that people must come together for the common good, not come together for the common bad.
Right.
And if Chasney was not good back then, no matter the amount of perfume you give him, the amount of lotion, you could wash him and fashion him and dry him up, he remains Alan Chasney. That is who he remains.
Right.
The very same man who demoralized and treated St. Lucians badly for 5.5 years.
Yes.
And he's asking now for you to be angry. He's asking for our PM to be flogged. He's asking...
Yeah, and that is a consistent about him.
Yes,
he's always an awage, and a fashe, and be angry.
And he
I want to know, man, why are you not angry?
And he has showed utter disrespect for the Constitution of St. Lucia by not appointing a deputy speaker for 5.5 years. He did it, and the rule of law that governs the parliament, the decorum that's supposed to be said there, because we are called honorable.
There's an irreverence towards our constitution.
Yes,
and if there's any reverence towards our constitution, there is contempt towards our nation.
That's it. That's it.
Good morning, RF. Wishing a very sweet victory on Monday. Friday in SVG had not been tested, and it's Friday the man, not the day. Friday in SVG had not been tested as PM, so I guess the people took their chances. But Alan has been tested here and has failed in everything he touches, from Air Jamaica to Minister to PM, so they cannot rest on SVG.
No, not at all.
We also got a message from my friend. I don't know if I'll say his name, but he said, actually, the Morocco students leave tomorrow. I have a niece who is a beneficiary. My family will produce a doctor in the future. She's heading off to study medicine.
Okay. Yes, Shelton, this morning I witnessed Flambeau operatives right at the gate of the VA4 Comprehensive School and within the 100 yards limit, coercing police officers in a very intimidatory manner. Is that how they plan to steal the elections? That's another person apart from the call we got from James earlier on, who is an officer. Someone else says, well, okay, that's the question. Owen, I'm going to call you because I think you've been trying to get in touch with me. Go ahead.
And Sheldon, please, before we go up the air, I think there's a lady who's begging that her mom be shown it. I think it's a shot. An elderly lady. What's her name? Miss. I saw it earlier. She's endorsing Kifo Charles, and that is Miss Bibiana from Choiseul. And then I think the lady really wants to show the people of Choiseul that the elderly are in it for Kifo. So I did send it to Jaquan. So if I guess after our caller, we can probably share it.
Not a problem. Someone says, hi Shelton, can you ask Tricky to call or message me? I have an important message for him. The thing is, you send the message on the MBC WhatsApp line. So Jaquan would have to get that number for me because it's not on my phone, which I'm reading it from, and then maybe we can forward it to Tricky. So I don't know if you have Tricky saved. He's called us so often from Canada, and maybe he's in the system. Okay. Jaquan said send it to him.
Okay.
All right. Where are we now? We're getting any more calls, or maybe we can start doing our wrap up?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have a call on the line? Hi, caller. Real Issues. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello. Oops.
So we lost that caller.
Yeah, I think the person waited. Yeah. Okay. Tricky, I'm going to forward this to you, so you'll see who it is that wants you to call them. All right, folks. What's left for us for the Real Issues for today? We appreciate the extra time. So Miguel and Tricky, do your wrap ups. We have a little less than 5 minutes to go.
Okay. And of course, you will hear about Kifo's endorsement, but remind the folks of Labon and the surrounding areas in Moshi to make sure that you find yourself there tonight. There will be a meeting for Honorable Kenson Kazime and Brother John Paul Estefan, and will be there, the guest speaker from Babuno, and Tricky and myself will be on platform. But folks, please tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure that we go and we place that X by the St. Lucia Labour Party, the Blue Wave umbrella, and the Independence Labour hand. The hand, not any sour orange. The hand, folks, or spoon. We're not stirring up trouble. We need to ensure that the progress we have seen over the little over 4 years, one man stayed at 5 going into 6, a little over 4 years, we need to go and make sure we fight for that progress. And fight, it means putting an X next to the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Oh yes, I'm Sheldon. For me, I just want to thank you and thank the team for welcoming me here today. And like I said that over the weekend, a number of persons will be traveling from Canada at their own cost. Not anybody or Paul paying money for them to come at their own cost, recognizing the importance of protecting St. Lucia. And for me, what I want to leave with us here today is we cannot gamble on our future. We have reached a place where we have seen what's happening in the world. America has become so isolated. America has placed tariffs on so many different countries, and America is doing this, and then those things will have an effect on our economy at some point, depending on the leader we choose. And we have seen how Pierre is measured. He does not waste time in terms, and he's focused.
Who's this?
He's focused, and he cares for people. So we are saying here today that do not gamble with your future. When you go to the polls on Monday, cast a vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party. When you cast a vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party, you cast a vote for progress.
All right. Who's this lady on the screen?
That's Miss Bibiana.
Miss Bibiana.
Endorsing Kifo,
From
yeah.
Choiseul.
I also have some good news that was posted. Leandra Fields, Miss Never has actually posted that I think she's been discharged from the hospital and she'll soon be on the way.
Great news.
I hope she's doing very much better.
I want to make sure. Here she is, looking really pretty.
Yes.
Maybe I should see if I can. I send this to you, Jaquan?
Yeah.
Let me try to see if I can send.
Maman simplicie. N'a fait ça. Monsieur Philippe, j'ai fait by simplicity. Because he can gade, he can wear hele simplicity, he can net about simplicity.
There's a man.
N'a fait ça za tout. Lady, 1er décembre, I mette ti quoi by Monsieur Philippe. Allez vote, by Kifo. Nous voulons Kifo mette Monsieur Brady en place. Toute la journée pour pas nous et pas faire nous. Et aujourd'hui, Yves les trois peu quoi, vini pour me et puis monsieur qui faut en élection. Gardez ta tête montée. Gardez ta tête montée, man. Hier, on va faire chimer dans 2 jours. Et on a fait hot ça. Even we're better together. By un nom qui ni parole et qu'on nom qui power pour aider nos simplici. Gars quantité bagay choisi qu'a fait. Handbag, tesson, tout chaque quatre bagay. Monsieur Black qui pas rien, il menace moun ça devant. Mais on dit qu'il faut animer tête by tout ces moun ça pour tout bagay nous kay. So on a fait ça. Les dit bon marché bonnet. Allez vite. Allez mettez petit quoi. By monsieur qu'il faut. Et bon Dieu béni nos simplici. Monsieur Philippe Kaibiwe Prime Minister, et chasse ne kay pochine, il ka aller tout avec quoi il faut sortir. Un product candidat nous pas vle, pas bay chasse.
Leandro George Fields has put a health update, and apparently it's come out in just less than the last hour. He says, I have been discharged from the hospital and be returning home soon. Now she gives acknowledgements, but I just want to read the one. She says, first and foremost, I want to thank the Lord for keeping me throughout this tough journey.
Amen.
16 lengthy days of hospitalization that felt never ending. She acknowledges her loving husband, Apostle Earl Fields, and who she says never left her side and ensured she was comfortable in every way. She had people who visited her mother and father in Trinidad, Apostle Dean J. Wilson and Pastor Terrence Wilson. And she says her doctors at the hematology department of the Port of Spain General Hospital, she's thanking them. Her family and friends, those who prayed, sent messages, called and supported her. And then she ends with one line, I've condensed it. I am looking forward to being home with you all and making my Monday a remarkable one.
It's wonderful news.
Leandra is going to make her Monday her never.
Yeah, but Shelton, quickly before we leave here.
Of course.
We have to hold Bradley Felix accountable for the lands in Beaufort. And I was so surprised knowing Bradley as a banker. Someone who always did due diligence in terms of giving loans and all that kind of stuff. Can Water Solution people give away how many acres of land? 400, 4,000? In Beaufort.
Man, 900 and something.
9,000 acres. 1,000 acres of land. And he said he never read the document.
Yeah.
And now St. Lucians are left holding the empty skillet on those lands.
Okay. Let me make one last call to a lady called Rufina Luisi, and her nickname is Irwin, if she'll take the call. But she's always in touch with us, and maybe she has a question she wanted clarified. I think maybe I touched on it, but perhaps when she says it's me.
That's Leandra's mom, actually.
Was that?
Miss Viviana's Leandra's mom.
Okay, great stuff. Okay. She's not taking the call. Maybe she realizes me. I'm not the kind of person who I guess wants to be on air. But Jaquan has said it has to be our last call. Thank you very much, Jaquan, for negotiating the extra time for us. Thanks very much, Butu.
Of course.
You've really been a great addition and companion, and always willing and volunteering whenever you have the time to do it. And Tricky, thank you so very much for landing in St. Lucia. Your very first thought, almost your first stop, was the real issues.
Absolutely.
Powered by Blue Waters, our final program before election. I think unless something, weekend, you never know, somebody.
Of course.
I think there's afternoon tomorrow night.
Yes. So, folks, enjoy the rest of your Friday, your weekend safely, and ensure that you do what has to be one of your most premier, paramount, civic duties and so on.
That's it.
Please, folks, go out and vote. Don't leave anything to chance. Don't say we win already. Follow all the how you call that? There's ads, PSAs and so on that are coming out to show you how to vote. Put that cross in the space that is provided. Don't surpass the space. Make sure you put 2 lines. It don't matter whether it's standing up straight like a cross, the type that Jesus Christ would have been on, or whether it is like an X to show you that you're wrong, you got the sum wrong. There is no wrong or right about it. You want 2 lines that traverse each other. Dealing to have a say on a lot in the space provided. Next to, first of all, you will find that there is the face of the person, the identifier of the person. Then there is the symbol of whatever party or what they're representing. They might be independent, but in this case is the star we want you to focus on.
and then in the space to the immediate right of that symbol. Don't go too far to the border of the page. Don't go up so you touch the line, much less cross it. Don't go below so you touch the line, much less cross it. Don't try to draw it too big. Don't try to put it too hard. Don't try to draw it too black. Just two lines crossing each other. That's why we call it a cross.
And be careful with the names, eh? Mikunof, we have a situation where family.
Yes,
family.
yes.
So look at the two names properly.
Cell NC JN.
JN, Cell NC JN.
But my life, you, même si you say N, l'année étoile là.
Étoile là.
Étoile là.
Pas ça fait le wek ça. L'année étoile là. Et puis, dès vous mettez les deux dans l'étoile là, quand vous mettez,
gardez pour étoile là tout seul.
Moun sa vini avec tout Norbert, avec Elisha, avec tout bayo. Ça ouvre, c'est étoile là, vous le mettez.
You could imagine how difficult it was before. Well, you would have voted when the ballot papers were in black and white, and you could barely make out the picture and the photo and this kind of thing.
And tell them that there's a school of thought as well. There are a number of persons out there in the diaspora that believe that they are unable to come to St. Lucia to vote, but they also contribute towards the development of St. Lucia through their remunerations and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
And they're saying that we need to come to a place where we can probably have mail-in ballots.
At some point. Yeah, the absentee ballots, the consulates, whatever can play a
for the
part in that.
consulates under strict supervision.
Yes.
It's been done.
Yes.
So that St. Lucians overseas can have a voice in the development of their country.
Indeed. Thank you so very much, everyone. Once again, Real Issues powered by Blue Waters for today and for the week. Shelton Daniel signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the